What's up, everybody? My name is Lee Shaner, and you're tuned into You Feel Me. Mr. Lee Fields, how are you doing?
I'm doing very good, very good.
Yeah, how long you been on the road right now?
Well, we've been on the road basically the last 6-7 years.
But just nonstop.
It's like nonstop. Yeah, we go home for a while, stay home for maybe a few days, a few weeks.
Yeah.
And then we go right back at it.
How does it feel when you're at home for those couple of days at a time?
Oh, well, you know, sometimes we get like maybe a month.
Yeah.
We had a month break this year, but most of the time we get maybe a couple weeks.
You get bored?
I know. I enjoy being home, but I know that this is what I always dreamed of doing.
Yeah.
And that being said, I have the opportunity to do it. So I go on the road to meet the people that think enough of my music to buy it, and they seem to cherish what I sing.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's my duty, you know, to come out and meet the people that buy the music, because I think singing is a privilege. It's not just, you know, because a lot of people want to do this.
Yeah.
And I got the opportunity to do it, so whatever the public demands, that's what I do.
There it is. You said you dreamed about it. Something you dreamed about as a kid?
Yeah.
How early?
I would say around maybe 14.
Yeah.
Because at first I didn't want to be an entertainer. I wanted to be a businessman. But after I won a talent show on a Dare.
Yeah.
And after I saw the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show, and then I saw James Brown in the Tammy Show, and then the band hired me when I was in the talent show, and the band that was playing for the talent show hired me to be their singer. And then I saw how people were responding. I felt like this was something natural that I could do.
Right from the jump.
Yeah.
The song that you sang at the talent show, what was it? Do you remember?
I really don't. I know it was a James Brown song, but
Yeah.
I really don't remember what it was.
Were you moving like James Brown too back then?
Yeah, back then, everybody,
Yeah.
you know, just like you see kids today wanting to imitate their favorite singers.
Yeah.
I was the same way.
Right.
But I learned afterwards that a person or a group you have to get your own style.
Right.
So it took a while because of the uncanny resemblance to James, and but I got my own style.
Right. Where was that talent show? Back home?
Oh yeah, it was in Wilson, North Carolina.
Born and raised in North Carolina, yeah?
Oh yeah, born and raised in North Carolina until I left home at 17.
Right. What do you remember? What was North Carolina like back then?
Well, you know, it was for people of color. It was wasn't too much to do unless you were a professional and or a real business person. And it was just at the time it was you know, just trivial jobs, you know, like putting in tobacco and farming and stuff like that.
What did your folks do?
My daddy worked on a construction company, but he had to, he farmed for a while.
Yeah.
But in latter years, right before, you know, I was about 13, he started working for a construction company because he could go away and make more money, say in Virginia or Washington, D.C., working on a construction company, than he could farming or putting in tobacco and stuff like that.
So he might leave for like a month or two at a time and come home, or was it for longer stretches?
No, he would leave for like a week.
Yeah.
Come home on the weekend.
Yeah.
Sometime 2 weeks. depending on what, if he worked overtime, a lot of overtime, sometimes it'll be 2 weeks before he come on, but never more than 2 weeks.
Right. Did your mom work as well, or she just took care of you guys?
She was the seamstress.
A seamstress, yeah.
Yeah, she worked for a company in Wilson that was at the time that was making parachutes for the armed forces.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she was a seamstress.
And you come from a big family, yeah?
Not really. It was like a total of 4 of us. When I was coming up, and my mother and father. So it was like 6 in the house.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't a big family.
Oh, I thought you had 5 siblings or something like that. Is what I read online. Okay, so it was just the 6 of you total.
Yeah.
And you're the second child.
Second child.
Yeah. So the kind of the middle child.
Yeah. Somewhat.
Yeah.
My older brother Tommy.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the oldest. I'm next in line. Then my brother Phil, and then my sister Brandina.
Oh, so you had a baby sister.
Yeah.
3 older brothers to protect her.
Yeah, she had 3 other older brothers to protect her.
How was that? You guys fighting off suitors when she was in school?
Yeah, like we you just couldn't come around there any kind of way.
Right, that's right.
You had to come at it with some respect.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the way we played it.
Absolutely. And how was school for you? Did you go to school and were you studious as a kid?
Yes, I was an avid reader.
Yeah.
But in my senior year, I became a bit restless, especially after all of the attention that I was getting.
Right, all of a sudden.
So I decided to go to New York, and there was a time when I regretted leaving, not completing that last year.
Yeah.
But things worked out very well for me. But I wouldn't advise any young person today to do that. They should get as much education as they can.
Right. So you drop out your senior year and go chase the music dreams in New York. What was the difference between North Carolina and New York? Like, that was a big culture shock?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, people were doing things in New York much faster than the things that we were doing in North Carolina.
Yeah.
It was like 2 different worlds.
This is in the 60s, mid-60s, late 60s?
No, this is the late 60s.
Late 60s?
Around 67, 60. 67, I left, and so in 68, 67 all the way up till to now. I've been in that New York region.
What did your family say when you packed up and left? Were they excited for you? Were they timid?
My mother tried to talk me out of it. Yeah. She thought it was. She cried when I left. She thought that New York was too much for a young, naive person such as I was.
Right.
So she tried to talk me into not going.
Did you feel naive at the time? Or did you feel like, I got this figured out?
I felt a bit naive.
Yeah.
I realized that from listening to my mother that where I was going, I had to be very careful. Mm-hmm. And but I felt a little bit naive because, I wasn't one of those know-it-all guys.
Yeah.
But I was brave enough to feel to have felt that I could handle it.
Yeah, like there was something more waiting for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you leave any close friends or love interests behind that you were going to miss at the time?
Well, yes, I had close friends that I was going to miss.
Yeah.
And at the time, I didn't have a love interest.
Right.
The girl that I was really, really head over heels over, I ended up having a broken heart from her. I found out she wasn't true.
Oh.
So that was one of the reasons, too, I want to get away from there.
Write some broken-hearted songs.
Yeah. So I got away.
Yeah.
Went to New York. And
so tell me about New York when you get there. How do you stay above water at the time? Did you get work or did you get right into the studio? What did you do?
Well, a friend of mine that invited me to New York. He was getting married, and at his wedding reception, I met a friend. His name was Lonnie, and he said he knew the clubs in town. He was about my age, maybe a year or so older than me, and he said he was going to take me around to some clubs. Once he found out that after I told him that what I did was I'm a singer.
Yeah.
So he said he'd take me around to some clubs. So and I agreed. And after the wedding reception, we went to a couple of clubs, and he talked the band into one of the clubs. He talked the band into allowing me to perform.
Yeah.
So they let me come up there, and when I went up there, saw a singer, man, people started throwing money. So I collected enough money that night to because I made an agreement with the lady that the friend that I mentioned that was getting married, he was moving out.
Right.
And she said she'll let me stay there, but I had to get a job, of course. But I made enough money to pay her rent for a couple of weeks.
Just off that money that people threw at you.
And then I had enough with my buddy and I, Lonnie.
Yeah.
We went out, man, and had a good time that night. I think it was $108, I believe it was. Anyway, it was enough for me to pay my
That's amazing.
rent for a few weeks.
And that's like one of your first nights in New York?
In New York, yeah. And then I had enough money way back then, you could buy, you could sit at a club and stuff, and I had enough money for us to eat that night and then drink a few beers. I know I shouldn't have been drinking at 17.
That's okay.
But I did.
I mean, the drinking age was probably 18 back then, no?
Yeah, it was 18.
Yeah, you were right there. You're just barely stretching the law.
And so we had a good time that night. Then I had some spending change. And the word got out. And the club owner asked me to come back.
Yeah, with the same band?
With the same band.
Yeah.
And then once that gig started, another gig came right after them. People were like coming with different offers. So I was busy. I was very busy.
What was the soul scene like back then? Are you doing cover songs? Or are you
I was doing cover songs.
What kind of songs were you singing?
I was singing some Otis Redding.
Oh, yeah.
Some James Brown, some Wilson Pickett.
Amazing.
I was singing some Solomon Burke.
Yeah.
And whatever, because I in North Carolina I was with a cover band. So we was covering all or whatever was hot. That's what we did.
While you're in New York playing clubs and doing cover songs with the band that you met, did you ever have any celebrity sightings in the audience? Did any of your singer heroes come through and see you perform?
Well, about a year after that, I was like when they hired people like Wilson Pickett to come in.
Yeah.
The band that I sang with at the first club, they would hire us to come and open up for Wilson Pickett. So we opened up for Wilson Pickett. We'd open up for Benny King. We opened up for Billy. What's his name? The guy, Summertime. His name will pop in my mind in a minute.
That's okay. We can come back to it. So you're opening for all these groups of these musicians that you loved, probably,
Yeah, the Mad Lad.
Yeah.
And the next, it was like, it just continued to kind of grow.
Yeah. And was that every night you're out playing, or did you?
No, play maybe about 3 nights a week.
Yeah. What would you do the rest of the time?
Learn songs.
Yeah.
Learn songs, practice my act. Every day I would practice.
Yeah.
Because if the beat, I knew there was a lot of great talent in New York, so to shine, I had to stay on my P's and Q's.
Yeah.
So I would practice every day.
How were you dressing back then?
Well, I was dressing pretty sharp, but I was like getting my clothes from buying my clothes from men's stores.
Yeah.
But I was buying some pretty nice stuff.
Yeah. So you're walking around New York flashy, feeling good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was having a good time.
Yeah, right.
I was having a good time, but I was conscious on of what I wanted. And then a year later, I met my wife, and I met her at 18.
How'd you meet her?
She was at one of my shows, and we talked. And
Did you approach her, or she approached you?
Well, basically, it was kind of a mutual thing.
Yeah.
You know, I think I approached her.
Yeah.
Because I could tell that, she, you could tell when a woman wanted to talk to you.
Right.
And we started talking, and we just clicked. And still together today.
That's amazing. And you met her at 18?
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Was it a love at first sight thing, or what?
No, it was like we were just good friends at first sight. It was just something about her just clicked.
Yeah. Did she live close to you in New York, or did you have to travel away?
Well, she lived not that far. I was in the Bushwick section.
Yeah.
And she was what do they call that section that she was in? It was a bus ride.
Yeah, right. Not too far to make it a hassle.
Yeah.
And when you guys start dating, like, did she start helping you work towards your goals, or what was she doing? Like, how did you guys become a unit, you know?
Well, we were just good friends, and we were dating.
Yeah.
And one thing led to another one. And when I was almost 19, I popped a question on her.
Yeah.
And she said yes.
Do you remember how you did it?
But she thought I was older than what I was.
Oh, really?
She thought I was like... She thought I was like a couple of years older than what I was.
Yeah.
She thought I was like 20.
Uh-huh.
I was a little bit, I was sharp, pretty sharp.
And so how long was it until you guys get married?
We got married when I was 19.
And then what was your guys' apartment like back then? In New York, it's so hard to get a place now, and they're all so tiny. I wonder what you guys...
It was a tiny apartment, but it was nice. I thought it was nice.
Yeah, of course.
And when I look back at it today, it wasn't as nice as I thought it was then.
Right.
But we was happy because we really dug each other. And we had big dreams.
Did things start moving pretty quickly with the music while you're in New York? Do you get into the studio pretty quick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My first record was released when I was. It was released in 6 to 8. Now, cut it in 6 to 8, and we released the first part of 6 to 9. And I recovered a song that James Brown had did, Bewildered. So I was starting to move, starting to do shows. Then I got hooked up with Kool and the Gang.
Yeah.
I worked with them about 6 months. They were they weren't known then. They was like known around New York because they had records that were being played around New York. So things started to move.
What were you doing with Kool and the Gang?
I was their vocalist.
Okay.
But their instrumental that they had out sort of like took off locally around New York, and then it started to spread. And then they went back in the studio and did another one. And their manager, Gene Red, was going to do some tracks on me as well. And but things started happening so fast for them without a vocalist. So one record after another, Kool and the Gang, and then Kool is back, and then they had a few more records that was instrumentally successful. So I felt as if they didn't need me because they were
already taken off.
They was already growing.
Yeah.
So I could tell that the way things were moving. Gene Red was focusing, I guess, on making the money, and they was bringing in the money. So that fell apart. I left, and I was kind of really, really hurt bad because then while I see him on TV, and that stuff really, really got next to me. So I became a little bit discouraged.
Yeah,
and then. The early 70s, I cut a record called Let's Talk It Over, which was picked up by London Records. So that opened up a door for me to travel. It was more or less a southern hit.
Yeah.
We got play in New York, but we didn't get the kind of play we got in the South.
So does that mean you start touring in the South?
I started touring in the South and building up a base of followers. And they would come out and support me when I would come through their cities.
What was touring the South like back then?
Well, it was like most of the time we would use like local bands. I come in and rehearse with the band 5 or 6 songs, or 7, 8 songs.
Like the day before or that day? Yeah.
And have songs that they get into town a day ahead.
Yeah.
Do a good rehearsal. And so that worked.
Yeah.
Until around about 76, 77, things. So I was pretty constant on the road. And in the South, and I was doing pretty good. I'm drawing a decent amount of people, making a living. And then 77, my wife, sister, was brutally murdered by her husband.
Oh my God!
And he also committed suicide.
God.
He was a friend. So that kind of put her family and her, and also myself into a loop, wondering why.
Right.
And now we took their one and only child, and we say we will raise him.
Oh my gosh.
So I got 2 kids of my own, 2 sons of my own. Now I got another kid. So at that time I had to I was like, my mind was just like, I was like torn apart.
Yeah.
But I knew that I needed to be a father. I'm married now. I got 2 kids now, my own. Now I got another son.
When did you have your first child?
My first child was in 1970.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got these kids now, and I'm saying to myself, I need to be a dad, because going out on the road, I wasn't fully concentrating on music 100%, because something like that, man. I'm looking at this kid every day, and I gotta be strong enough to hopefully to keep him strong so he can grow up and take care of himself.
Right.
And my 2 kids as well. So I figure, like, what I do, I get into something else. So I started reading books.
Right.
I was still performing, but I started reading books, and I saw how you can obtain real estate with very little money. So I started reading books, and by 1980, I bought my first house.
To flip.
Yeah. Well, not to flip it. That was the first house where we could live in.
Oh, okay.
But I had 2 apartments.
Okay.
That I rented that actually paid for the mortgage on the house, and I had money left over, and I was still like gigging locally. So I bought another house, and
these are these in New Jersey?
These in New Jersey. Yeah. So after I get these houses, now I'm being the dad. I'm home, and I was like gigging here and there,
right,
locally. And making enough money. I wasn't getting rich. I was making enough money to keep everything afloat. Yeah. And to take the kids every now and then to Great Adventure, the amusement park, and go on vacations and stuff. Yeah. And the wife, she worked. So the music scene seemed like kind of, although I was still in it, it seemed to me like a little bit less important at that time. And I was still recording. And as a matter of fact, I cut a record in the early 80s, early mid 80s, called Stopwatch, and we charted with that. Really? Yeah, called Stopwatch. And so I'm still working, doing gigs here, and I'm dealing with the real estate. I'm learning how to fix things up.
Yeah, you're kind of leading this double life where there's still a part of you that's kind of this
still
music star, but then you're also
yeah.
living this normal guy dad life too, huh?
Yeah, so as I fixed the places up, kept them rented, I was pretty good at that too.
Really?
Learned how to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
And anyway, I did that until about the late 80s. And, I'm pretty stable. I had a few dollars in the bank. Had a house and another house. And then I bought another one. So I got 3 houses.
And are you renting the other two?
I'm renting everything.
You're renting everything?
I'm renting the 2 upstairs floors.
Yeah.
And I'm running the
So
other
you're
one.
becoming a regular real estate mogul.
Well, not a mogul, but I'm making enough money to live pretty decent.
Yeah. And then are you acting as a landlord, or are you hiring?
I'm a landlord.
Yeah,
I got a nice car.
Yeah.
We take vacations.
Before we get too far, let me ask you this, Mr. Fields. When you're touring in the 70s after you've been married, right? Are you taking your wife on the road with you, or is
Sometime.
How was it balancing marriage and a young kid and being on the road?
We're in the early 70s.
Yeah.
When I go on the road, sometime I would just go in, because it was like not an everyday thing. I would fly in, or I would drive in, do a Friday, do a Saturday, a Sunday, and then I would drive back.
Okay, so you're just doing like spot dates, kind of a weekend here, weekend there. You're not going out for like 7 weeks in a row.
No, it wasn't like that.
Okay.
Because the blues circuit, unless you really hook up at the time with the right agencies, and I wasn't hooked up with the right agencies. I was mainly, taking the calls and doing the shows, so making the deal.
You're kind of like an independent artist back then. Like, were you managing yourself and all that?
I was managing myself because I had like 2 managers, and I felt like I could do a better job.
Yeah,
and I did.
Have you always felt like a little bit of I don't want to say a control freak, but maybe like, if you can do that, then I can figure it out myself type of guy?
I was the type of person that if a person really took took my career in their hands and really did a good job, I would have no complaints.
Yeah.
But when I see that the people that I was dealing with wasn't as good as I thought they would be, I thought I could do a better job, and I did.
Yeah. Did you experience any of the pitfalls of the music industry that we hear about, from like getting taken advantage of, or maybe like money managers stealing money or anything like that, or getting caught in bad deals?
No. As I said, my managers at the time, I tried 2 of them, and when I found out that they couldn't manage, and we ended the contracts.
So that was it.
Then I started managing myself, and my philosophy was this: I got taken for some money one time. I went on stage, a house full of people. Yeah. And the promoter ran out. Yeah. So after that experience, my philosophy was half the money in advance.
That's right.
And before I go on stage, the other half, I go back to the hotel. Yeah. And I don't be sitting around arguing or trying to, if he doesn't have it, I just get in the car and go to the hotel.
There you go.
So I did that, and with the houses. Yeah. And things. But when my wife's sister was killed. Yeah. In 1977, that took some of the stamina, some of the energy from wanting to become a artist, although it was still in me. But it was more important, I thought at the time, to be a family man.
Yeah, it sounds like you really stepped up as a man and as a relative and took a lot of responsibility there.
Yeah, and so these houses, and I got the rents. Yeah. And now I'm gigging here and there. Yeah. And I'm singing locally at little places that that you add up all the money. I was making a good living. Yeah. I wasn't getting rich, but I was making a decent living, and as I said, enough to take some vacations. And it was good, and I bonded with my kids.
Of course. Were your kids athletes or musicians or anything like that? What were they into?
I went out, man, and bought them all kind of equipment. Yeah. I thought, man, I could turn them into a group like Joe Jackson did.
Hell yeah.
I bought guitars, and drums.
Yeah.
And I got 3 sons, right? I thought they were going to learn how to play it.
Uh-huh.
Man, that stuff sit in the basement, man, with dust on it.
Just collected dust.
Yeah. So
they showed no interest in it?
No interest, man.
Oh, man.
And I thought, like, I'd get tough on them. Y'all going to practice this today. You're going to practice.
Right. Really, Joe Jackson.
Oh, man. Yeah, I was trying to Joe it out, man.
I was trying to Joe it out, he said.
Man, they looked at that equipment like it came from another planet.
Have any of them pulled you aside since and been like, you know what, Dad, we should have done that?
No, they didn't have to, because I could look at them. They see me coming.
Yeah.
And I could see the look on them. Oh, man, here you go again. You know, I could see that.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Skullcandy wanted to show you some love for listening by hooking you up with 15% off your next purchase. Head over to skullcandy.com and use the code YouFeelMe19 at checkout to get 15% off anything site-wide. Let me ask you this. You make a very specific brand of classic soul music, you know what I mean? Like the type of American soul that a lot of people consider it like one of the greatest subgenres or generations of music, you know what I mean? Like this, the purest, most heartfelt, right? But at a time, I would imagine it kind of went out of style, right? When disco comes in or hair metal or whatever, like, did you ever have to like switch up your style to try and remain quote unquote relevant?
Well, when disco came in, in the 80s, the music changed.
Right.
As I said, that was my first chart record in the 80s. I mean, when I look back at it now, I could have competed much better than I did. Mm-hmm. 'Cause, you know, if I'm around now, and this is 2019, if I can compete 50 years later,
right,
I could have definitely competed in the 80s.
Right.
And I had a chart record in the 80s, a Billboard chart record. But what it was, after the incident of my friend and my sister-in-law, that took something out of me. It made me, as I say, more family-orientated.
You just kind of had to reassess everything.
Yeah, I had to, and then I started to read heavily.
So it's not necessarily that you couldn't compete; it's that you didn't want to compete at that point because you just had bigger fish to fry. Realistically, in the later 80s, I guess, when you have these 3 houses, you have your 3 boys, you're still gigging locally and everything.
Yeah, I'm still gigging locally, and I'm working on maintaining these places. You know, for Boiler Go.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to do a lot of things. So I'm really reinventing myself.
Yeah.
Because I need to be home. I don't need to be on the road at that time.
Did you miss the road?
A little.
Yeah.
A little, but it was more, man, to see. It was more to me, man, to see my kids with someone to look up to.
Yeah.
Because at the time now, my son, our oldest son, he's 12, 13 years old. And the streets out there and a lot of kids selling drugs and all of that. So my place was to be there for them. And as the 80s progressed, and my older son, he needed me bad.
Really?
Yeah, because he was sort of rambunctious. So,
well, go ahead.
And what was offered on the road to me at the time was not worth risking a family.
Right.
So what I did, I was weak at the time, so I started to read diligently. I started to read spiritual things. I started to read the Bible.
Yeah.
And what I did was, because I had spare time, I had the properties. And the more I read the Bible, the King James Version, the more I understood contracts. Because in the King James Version, there's a lot of Old English in the King James Version. So help me understand contracts that are written in Old English. So I became even more business savvy. So
From the Bible, no kidding.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
So what I did was a lot of words I didn't understand what they or the meaning of the words. So what I had to do, I had to go back to the dictionary and read the etymology of the word, what it meant at that time. So it made contracts very easy for me to understand.
Wow.
So business wise, man, I was doing okay.
Yeah.
And although the desire for the business always remained, so what I did was I started to record again.
Yeah.
Well, what made me start to record again, really putting interest in recording and the music business, because I was recording, but I was putting out a record here, a record there. But I really didn't put my full energies in it.
Right.
Until about the late 80s, early 90s. I was getting ready to buy a eatery in Newark. It had a storefront and they had 3 apartments. And what I was going to do, I was going to turn the storefront into a place where you can come and buy fish sandwiches and take them out.
Yeah.
Like a fast food,
like a deli kind of place or something?
No, just a fish place where you can come and buy a fish sandwich and just, where you don't sit around, you just take it and leave.
Yeah.
And I was going to rent the other 3 floors. So I took my wife over for her to take a look at this place that I thought would be the thing for us to do. And she looked at the place and she asked me, she said, "What do you know about fish? How can you, how you know how to take care of the fish? How you know when the fish are good or when they're bad?"
Right.
She said, "What do you know about fish?" I said, "Well, only thing I know about fish is they taste good."
Yeah.
So.
What kind of fish were you thinking? Like catfish or cod or what?
Just regular fish sandwich. I really hadn't gotten into it deep enough to even really think of the kind of fish we were going to sell. Right. So what I did was I took her advice, and she said, "What you need to do is stick with music." I said, "Well, baby, music has changed. It ain't like it used to be.
Yeah.
Everything now, a lot of stuff is made from the computer."
Yeah.
So we have saved up some money, and she encouraged me to go back into the music. So I said, "Well, I'm going to need to get with the technical end of it."
Yeah.
So I went out to Sam Ash. I bought about, I think, a little over $18,000 worth of equipment.
Woo.
I bought...
That just made my heart skip a beat.
I bought a Yamaha C1 computer at the time.
Yeah.
It works just like... it was a Voyetra program that I was using.
Yeah.
Where I could MIDI timbrels, and I could also SMPTE my 8-track recorder. I bought a Tascam recorder where I could SMPTE, send it a SMPTE code in, and it working. Everything, the timbrels and everything will work in accordance with the Tascam analog tape.
Yeah.
Then I bought 2 DAT machines, and I bought a board. I knew what I needed because, as I said, I was an avid reader.
Yeah.
So I knew all of the technical ends.
Had you produced back when you were recording?
Back in the day, I would produce a record in a regular studio.
Yeah.
So I get all of this equipment, but the only thing now, I'm reading and trying to figure out how to get it all working.
To learn how to use it all, that's a lot.
So about 3 weeks after I bought the equipment, I could tell my wife was becoming a bit impatient.
Where's my songs?
Yeah, she's wondering, we done spent all of this money, man, no music being made, so she was becoming a bit impatient.
Yeah.
So I get this guy, his name is Lloyd. I get him to come over and teach me how to hook up all of this stuff. I got the principle in my head, but it seemed like I could get it halfway working, but everything didn't work out as I thought it would. So he showed me how to hook up everything and how to to send my SIMPTE code. What was missing was the SIMPTE code. I had to make a SIMPTE code, and the computer would generate a SIMPTE code. But anyway, when he showed me how to do that, and I said, now I got this figured. So I started playing different things, and I would make different tracks. Because at that time, I wasn't working with my band. When they saw that I had all of the equipment that I had, they became very jealous.
Right.
They became very jealous, man. So what I did, I started making tracks. Oh, man, I can... And the tracks were sounding good. So what I did, I made...
Are you a keys man? Like you play stuff on the piano?
Well, I play just a little. But with computers, you can slow it down.
Yeah.
And play it and speed it back up.
Yeah.
So I played just enough, man, to make about 10 or 15 tracks. Tracks that songs, and I learned the songs. I already knew the lyrics to the song, but I played it just enough, and it sounded real good.
Yeah.
So now I got me enough now to be on stage for 40 minutes.
Wow.
A whole track.
Yeah.
And I talked a club owner in Newark and let me come in with because he was bringing me in with my band. But I talked them into letting me come in with my tracks.
Yeah.
So we worked out a deal, and he let me come in with my tracks on a Saturday night, and people liked it. We didn't have a full house, but we had a decent crowd. And every week I will make different tracks. Now I got a track now for a show, but now I start recording original music, and I will sing it and put it down on a disc. I would put it down on the disc. I had like a disc maker.
Yeah.
A
CD drive.
CD drive.
Yeah.
And I would make up maybe about 10 or 15 of them.
And sell them at the shows?
No, I would give them away.
Giving them away.
Give them away. So I started making different songs, giving away. People said, oh, this sound pretty good.
Yeah.
Then I made two songs. I made a song called Meet Me Tonight. Then I made a song called A Man Gotta Do What a Man Gotta Do. And I put them on the disc. And I would put them on cassettes. And I would just give them away. And then one night, I had a guy that was working with me that was playing music until I did my show. He would play like blues and whatever the people were dancing to. So we had like a disco kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
We had a disco kind of thing going on. And then I would come up and sing for about 25, 30 minutes, and people really liked it.
Right.
Audience is getting bigger. But when I cut that record called Meet Me Tonight, and Man Gotta Do What a Man Gotta Do, I was getting ready to give them away, and a guy walked up and he said, man, listen, who sang that song? I said, I do. He said, how much you charge for it? I said, charge? I said, give me $6. Man, he reached in his pocket, gave me $6, and somebody else came up. I want to get one of them too.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, man, I made a stack of them. We stayed up all
night just burning
all
them?
night for a few nights, making nothing but cassette tapes. I bought about 5 or 6 cassette makers.
Yeah.
Because people had a lot of cassettes in their cars. CDs was rare at that time.
Right.
So I was making a lot of cassettes. And I sold every last one of them at that show.
Oh, my gosh.
And then the next week I come in, man, the place is jam-packed. And then I had the record pressed up on vinyl.
Like on a 45 or what?
Yeah, on a 45.
Yeah.
And put it up, and man put it on the jukebox.
Yeah.
Every time you would come into the place, it's the only thing you hear is Meet Me Tonight.
And now you recorded this yourself?
I recorded that right in my basement.
It had drum tracks and all that?
Drum tracks, everything.
Wow, and you did all of it?
Did all of it. And the background.
How did you make the drum tracks?
I had the timbre.
Yeah, okay.
You can check the keys. Yeah. Hit the keys, man.
So you're programming the drum.
Yeah, program the drum.
Oh, wow.
And next thing I know, somebody asked me to come to another club. I don't have a band. The only thing I got is these big speakers. I bought a bunch of speakers and everything, man.
Yeah, so you had a PA system?
I got a mega PA system.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I had a guy working with me. He would come, we take the equipment, set it up.
Yeah.
And he'll come in and play music for all of the night, and I come up and I do about a 35, 40-minute show with tracks.
Yeah.
Man, we were filling up everywhere. And I am now, man. I'm making, this is in the early 90s.
Uh-huh.
I'm making about $1,200 a night.
Wow.
For myself.
Uh-huh.
I'm making about $1,200.
Because there's no split. You're managing yourself. You don't got a band.
And ain't got nobody to pay. But this guy I got working for me, you know, I give him a few dollars.
Yeah.
He happy. I'm happy. And I'm doing 2 or 3 nights a week. I'm making $2 and $3 grand a week.
That's amazing.
And and one club called me out there that I'm doing dances, everything.
Uh-huh.
I'm doing dances. Next thing I know, man, I'm getting calls from down south, the regular splitting all down south. And then I had to order from disc makers, professional people.
And I couldn't handle it.
I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
And
this is before the internet. How's word spreading like this? Just word of mouth?
The internet was in.
Oh,
This is like the early 90s. Now.
Okay.
This is like...
But I mean, it wasn't like it is now.
Like it is now.
Yeah.
But what it was, the jukeboxes.
Oh.
The jukebox, the only thing I had to do, you put that record on the jukebox.
Yeah.
And at the time, drop a dollar, whatever it was,
right.
And had to play it. Play it a couple of times, man, leave out of it. You come back the next week, man, only thing you hear, dum, dum, dum. So I'm like, the record's selling.
Yeah.
I'm selling to the distributors now. I'm making some real good money.
Yeah.
This is the early 90s. Some people are calling me all down in Mississippi, calling me all in Arkansas, calling me in the Carolinas, calling me all over the place.
Yeah.
D.C. to come down and do shows, and I give them a price. So I'm working, man. I'm making some real, real good money.
And are you still managing the properties too, or those kind of like on autopilot?
No.
Yeah.
I'm still managing the property because I be going on the weekend.
Yeah.
I go down like I leave I do a show like on a Friday or Saturday. I don't have to do it 2 shows a week.
Yeah.
Because I'm traveling on the road, so I'm charging like 25 and $3 grand to come out. They ain't got nobody to pay for myself.
Let me ask you this: when you went back to the Carolinas, did your parents ever get to come see you play?
Yeah. My mom, dad saw me play many a times.
How'd they feel about it?
They loved it.
They loved it. Yeah.
But in the mid-90s, in the early 90s, man, all the way up until about 97.
Yeah.
I had my machine. I was working in Norfolk. I was working like a lot of time, man. We have a lot of time it'll be maybe 1,200-1,300 in a place.
Oh my gosh!
And
you're doing it all independently.
I ain't got nothing. Only thing I got to do is have my partner that set the equipment up.
Yeah.
And play the music.
1,300 people in a venue. There's people that are on the radio right now that can't do that.
Well, I was drawing.
You know
I was drawing it like that.
Yeah. Wow.
And now I'm getting calls now to open up for people like Johnny Taylor.
Uh-huh.
He got the Johnny Taylor. He got this big band. He got this big band with about 10 pieces in his band.
Uh-huh.
And this promoter called me to come down to Montgomery, Alabama at the Coliseum. And I walk in the Coliseum, buy equipment and stuff. But I had to plug into their system because the Coliseum was so big. But I had my system up there anyway. Mm-hmm. And I plugged into the Coliseum system. And the promoter said, "Listen, man, I didn't know you didn't have no band."
Yeah.
I said, "No, I don't have a band, man." He said, "I'm going to tell you something. There's going to be a lot of people here tonight. And you coming up with this one-man stuff, these people tonight don't go for that. You coming up with this one-man stuff, I'm going to tell you right now, I sent you half of your money. But if you go on that stage tonight and these people don't like you, I'm not going to pay you a dime. I'm going to tell you that." And I couldn't make a demand half up front.
Right.
Because he already told me he ain't going to pay me if I don't get over. And I'm all the way down, and although I got half of my money, I had to call a shot. So let me go up and do this.
Risked it.
I had to risk it because he already told me he ain't going to pay me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And you killed it?
I went on stage, man. When I walked out there by myself, the audience, man, you could drop a pin.
Yeah.
Now that guy got about 10,000 folks in this Coliseum. That was, Johnny Taylor headlining.
Yeah.
I'm opening up for Johnny Taylor.
Yeah.
And he had records like Disco Lady and Cheaper to Keeper and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Walked out on stage, man, I was nervous. But as soon as that music hit, doom, 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 they was kind of patting their feet looking. And when I opened up my mouth and started singing Meet Me Tonight, man, the ladies went like crazy. They went like crazy, man. So I worked like that for a while.
Yeah.
Until one night a guy pulled the plug on me.
No.
Yeah, he pulled the plug on me.
Why?
I don't know. But then I had to get a band.
Yeah.
But I did that until the early 90s, all the way up until about 96, 97.
Yeah. Let's fast forward a little bit. Talk to me about the soul resurgence that starts happening in I don't know, 06, 07. Like Raphael Sadiq is putting out older soul records. You got Amy Winehouse blowing up, and then by 09, you're back on the scene, huge.
What you see?
Yeah.
What happened? Amy Winehouse was produced by
Mark Ronson.
Yeah. And Gabriel Roth was a part of that. Gabriel Roth, some of the members of the crew that I work with played played music on those tracks.
Oh, okay.
So, and my keyboard player even went out with her. He played keyboards for on a lot of keyboardists with me now, Toby Pasner.
Yeah.
So what happened was we started making noise with retro soul back in '96. Philip Lehman and Gabriel Roth. Gabriel ended up with Sharon Jones.
Yeah.
So Amy came out to Sharon. Sharon came out to me.
Yeah.
Sharon was she used to be my background singer.
There you go.
So, and the tracks that Amy used, some of those tracks were cut at Daptone Record Studio.
For Sharon?
No,
yeah.
for Amy.
Oh, for Amy,
yeah,
okay.
For some of those tracks.
Okay.
Some of the bass is part of those tracks.
Yeah, yeah.
And some of the musicians that I was using back then was on those records.
Yeah.
So, but we was already cutting in the late 90s. These two guys, Gabriel Roth and Philip Lehman, which had a passion for soul music, contacted me around 96. And they want to make some soul music. They sound like they were really seasoned black guys because they knew something about all of the artists that you can name.
There's rare 45s and stuff.
So I thought these guys were like older black guys that wanted to cut a real soul record. And so we made a deal, and they told me to come out to Long Island and told me where the studio was, and we'll cut the record after we made the deal.
Yeah.
Get to the studio, knock on the door, and this curly-haired, young, looked like kid white kid come out the door.
Yeah.
Looked around and said, "What the?" That's what I said in my mind,
Yeah.
I was like totally surprised because they knew so much about me. I thought I was talking to two black guys.
Yeah.
And so they had the tracks. After they were still talking and stuff, so I guess they know what they're talking about. So we cut a song called Steam Train. That was got to be in 96, 97. And that's where the soul, the retro soul began to start it.
Like kind of bubbling a little bit.
Yeah. So bubbling, we cut the track and we took a tour over in Europe. The record kind of took off over in Europe, so we took a tour over there.
That's so funny because I found out about you in 2009, and I've been a diehard fan since. I had no idea that there was I knew you had a previous musician's life before I found out about you, but I didn't know that you had been working on the retro soul stuff since '96, that's 13 years before I found out about you.
Yeah. So what we did, cut this track, went on tour.
Yeah.
And then in 2000, Sharon used to go on tour with me. She was like background singer. And Charles Bradley wasn't even touring then. He wasn't even touring because, he was cutting. Gabe Roth was cutting tracks on Charles Bradley, but he wasn't touring because people knew me from like records that I cut way back in the early 70s.
Yeah.
So I got people that liked those records, really dug those records, so they would come out when I would come into town.
Right.
So I'm touring, but the band was so big, man. I mean, there was a big band. And
more than 10 people?
Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah?
It was like a big band.
Wow.
So really money couldn't be,
Yeah, it's hard.
Here it is, man. I'm a guy. I'm used to getting paid with just speakers and a computer.
Right.
Some good money. So but I could see where they were coming from.
Yeah.
About the passion for this music. So we played Aspen, Colorado in 2000, and we was all one unit. But I saw this group called the Sugarman 3. It was Neil Sugarman, and he had sax, keyboard, guitar, and drums. And but the keyboard player played bass, Adam Scone. So I said it's more practical now if I get with that group.
Oh yeah.
If I get with that group, it's less splits, and then we could play small places and build a name. We can, instead of having to come where people have to put us in a larger place and where everybody can get a little money, we could play everywhere. We could play. So I joined the Sugarman 3 in Aspen. And so we went on tour over in Europe, and we were playing everywhere. Yeah. Every night of the week. We were playing small bars, anywhere you could name, we were playing.
Because you guys were nimble. You could get anywhere.
Yeah, we can get anywhere. You can sit us up in place holds 75 people.
Right.
And what we did, we worked that for about 3 years. And all of a sudden, we began to catch on. Sharon became the Dap Kings, not the Dap King, but the Soul Providers became the Dap Kings.
Right.
And Sharon became the lead singer for the Dap Kings. Charles still wasn't touring. So when they still pouring the records out there, we tour and we going to places that they couldn't go. And people were starting to know about this music. And then they start buying other kind of music, buying Sharon music. And they was pushing Sharon. So and that's how it started. So, but I worked with the Sugarman 3 for a short period of time because I got an offer from Martin Survey, which is a house electronic music producer.
Okay.
So he wanted me to cut some tracks for him, so I cut a track for Martin called Everybody. And that record took off over in Europe.
Yeah, I read about that.
Yeah, so that record took off now. I'm not doing the soul circuit now. I'm doing
the dance clubs,
lecture music circuit now.
Yeah, how's that?
And doing tracks.
How's that for you?
Oh, it was great. I did it for about 5 years.
Yeah.
And
was it a weird scene, different than you were used to?
Yeah, because it would be like thousands of people. Out. It would be like we would play places, man. It'd be clubs, man. It would be about 3,000-4,000 people in the club. Yeah. And they would just dance all night. And I would come on sometime 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. But the amazing thing about when I was singing, when I would come on, and people would watch me as I walk on the stage, and once the track started and I saw us singing, man, they went like crazy. So I did that for about 5 years with Martin. And then the Expressions and I hooked up in 2008. Yeah. And
that starts like a whole new chapter of your life, kind of.
Then in 2008, we started playing and it never stopped.
Yeah, and I feel like that's when, I mean, that makes sense that it crosses over into my world then, because that's when like Pitchfork starts writing about you, and the blogs start writing about you, and Fader and everybody, and it's like, and now you're reaching a whole new generation again. Yeah. You've really lived like 5-6 different music lives already, man. That's amazing.
And I feel as long as I stay vigilant, and keep a pulse on the music, you lose it when you when you become so into what you do that you're not listening to I listen to everybody.
Yeah.
I listen to country and western. I listen to dance music. I listen to soul music.
You get sampled by a lot of rappers.
Yeah, I listen to Tom Petty. I listen to
Tom Petty.
I listen to Willie Nelson. I listen to the old Wilson Pickett's, the old James, the Solomon Burke. I listen to everything.
Right.
I listen to classical. I listen to the way I figure, whatever I listen to. I like what's the girl named Grande?
Ariana Grande.
Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
I listen to her.
She got a great voice.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
I listen to everybody.
We got to wrap it up because I know you have a show in a little bit. All right, but I want to ask you just for like some life advice. You've been married for.
Be 50 years in October.
50 years. Congratulations. I just got married this weekend.
Yeah? Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I just got married this weekend. What is some good marriage advice that you got?
Treat your partner.
Yeah.
Treat your spouse the same way you would treat yourself. In other words, do unto others as you would have them to do unto you.
Absolutely.
And treat your spouse as she is your flesh. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to hurt yourself, so you don't want to hurt her.
That makes sense.
And if you do that, and really, really, if it's something real that could harm the relationship and your decision, you think about she's part of you.
Yeah.
And make that decision based upon that. Treat her just like you treat yourself.
My last question for you is you've managed to stay passionate about music now for, probably 60 plus years. How have you kept that passion in your creative drive?
Well, I think if I'm going to take time and make a record, I got to make a record that I really like. Mm-hmm. I got to make a record that when I listen to it make me feel good. When Leon and I write, or Toby write, the music got to I want something to make me feel passion. To feel something. I just don't want to just write something that just got a beat or no meaning. Mm-hmm. And then I try to choose my lyrics carefully because being from the old school, I believe that there's God. I do believe that there's God. And which I'm a Christian. Mm-hmm. I believe Jesus is the Son of God. And I think all religions are good if it tells you to love your neighbor as yourself. Mm-hmm. Love your neighbor as yourself and love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and soul and all thy might. If you do those two things, everything is all good. Mm-hmm. So that being said, so when I write, I'm very careful about what I write about. Because I want it to be pleasing to God. I want to make although I'm not singing the gospel, because the gospel is about the when and the then. I'm singing about the here and the now, but I'm hoping that it will be pleasing to God. So I'm very careful as to what kind of lyrics I put in my songs, because I think the same way people are careful about what kind of food that they eat for the physical body, the spiritual body requires good products as well.
The same amount of attention.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Mr. Fields, I want to thank you for your time. I'm a huge fan.
Thank you. Yeah. And thank you for your interview. I really appreciate it.
This was amazing. I've always wanted to speak with you, and I'm happy that I got to do it. So, that said, I'll let you get to your show, and I'm just going to take care of all the chores here with this.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
So, thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Lee. Some of you guys might know me as Intuition, and this was You Feel Me, the Skullcandy podcast, where we talk to artists and musicians and athletes about life and culture. That was Lee Fields, and it was a great pleasure for me. Thank you guys for tuning in.